It's a fact that Hyoga, even as a bronze saint, managed to transcend human limits and inherited the power capable of reaching absolute zero. With that, he overcame several enemies capable of manipulating freezing air. Hyoga was then named as the future Gold Saint of Aquarius. Therefore, with the beginning of the Heaven Saga, Hyoga will finally ascend to the rank of Gold Saint and will fight alongside Athena against the gods of Olympus. Hello, Saints and Amazons. Welcome to another video from the channel Sempre Qui Saber. I'm Wes, and today we're going to understand how and why Hyoga will become the Gold Saint of Aquarius in the Heaven Saga. Are you curious? So go ahead and leave a like, subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and let's get into this awesome video. Always. Canonically, in the classic saga, Hyoga built his power base in the icy lands of eastern Siberia. It was there that he was trained to become a knight, paralyzing atomic movement to generate absolute cold. The peak of the Ice Knight's power in Knights of the Zodiac is absolute zero, an extreme temperature of minus 273.15 degrees, which is the exact point where all molecular activity ceases. It was during the iconic Battle of the 12 Houses that Hyoga had the most painful and important fight of his life against his own master, Camus of Aquarius. Camus, known as the Magician of Ice, sacrificed his own life in the House of Aquarius to teach his disciple how to reach the seventh sense and absolute zero. It was at that moment that Hyoga unleashed his first Aurora execution, the ultimate technique that makes full use of cold air, forever inheriting his master's legacy. Later, in the Poseidon arc, the Aquarius gold cloth crosses space to protect Hyoga in his battle against Poseidon, the god of the seas. Then, during the terrible holy war against Hades in the Elysian fields, Hyoga wears the gold cloth again for a brief period to face the god of death, Thanatos. Although Thanatos destroyed the Aquarius cloth with a single blow, showing the huge difference in power between the gold saints and the twin gods, Hyoga's bond with the Aquarius sign was already sealed in the stars. In official works of the multiverse, in expanded timelines of the franchise, such as in Episode G Assassin and Episode G Requiem, manga focused on complex narratives involving time travel, multiverses, and battles against gladiators and primordial gods. Hyoga is already clearly established as the Gold Saint of Aquarius. In these sagas, he is a veteran warrior, mature, sporting an incredible look and mastering ice techniques that far surpass what we saw in the classic saga. He is no longer just an apprentice. Now he is the absolute master of cold air, fighting alongside other legendary saints to protect Earth in chaotic realities. This already served as a big spoiler for the character's fate, but it's in the main canonical timeline, written by Master Masami Kurumada himself, that things get even more interesting. Let's talk about Hyoga's journey in the acclaimed Next Dimension saga. This is the official and direct continuation of the Hades saga. In it, Athena and the Bronze Saints travel back in time to the 18th century during the previous Holy War to try to destroy the sword of the god Hades, which cursed Pegasus Saya, leaving him in a wheelchair with his days numbered. During this journey to the past, things get out of control, and the Bronze Saints end up in different parts of the 12 houses in the ancient sanctuary. This is where Hyoga shows that his power has reached a monstrous level. When he arrives at the Aquarius house of the 18th century, he comes across the Aquarius saint, Mystoria, the gold saint of that era. Mystoria is an incredibly noble warrior with a cold and analytical personality. The clash between the two ice mages is spectacular. Mystoria puts Hyoga to the test in an intense clash of Aurora executions. But Hyoga proves his worth beyond a doubt. The cold air of the swan was flawless, being able to freeze the Aquarius cloth in an instant. Upon witnessing such a feat, Mystoria of Aquarius, recognizing Hyoga's strength, heart, and control over absolute zero, entrusts him with the mission to protect Athena, and officially acknowledges him as the true future successor of Aquarius. During Next Dimension, Hyoga's level of control over cold air was so overwhelming that he was able to freeze 3 of the powerful gold cloths. As we know, the gold cloths only freeze at absolute zero. Hyoga did this with 3 gold cloths in this saga. First, in his power test, he froze Mystoria's Aquarius cloth. Then, moving forward, he encountered Izo of Capricorn. Izo is known as the Demon Cutter, a fierce swordsman whose Excalibur strike resembles an authentic Japanese sword, The katana. Izo tested Hyoga's determination, but the swan used his extreme cold air to immobilize and freeze the Capricorn cloth, paralyzing Izo and proving he was ready to move forward. Not stopping there, Hyoga was also vital in dealing with Sagittarius Gestalt, a knight who suffered from a traumatic illusion caused by Odysseus of Ophiuchus, believing his body was that of a real centaur. Upon entering the house of Sagittarius, Hyoga once again did the impossible and froze the gold cloth. And, my friends, freezing 3 gold cloths of legendary warriors in the same saga is irrefutable proof that Hyoga already possesses power far above that of an ordinary gold saint. After all these legendary and epic events, the Next Dimension saga was concluded, paving the way for Hyoga. The awaited Heaven saga, and this is where things get serious. The Heaven Saga already has 6 chapters released. In these first chapters, only Saori, Athena, Atina, Shunwiki, and Seiya have appeared so far. And the scenario is one of absolute uncertainty about what might happen. All of this is because of a brutal divine punishment. At the end of Next Dimension, the interference of the Knights and Athena in the timeline deeply angered the gods of Olympus. Apollo, being an entity of incalculable power and one of the strongest gods in the Greek pantheon, decided that humanity had crossed the line. As a punishment for the sin of tampering with time and defying the gods, Apollo imposed a very cruel punishment: the sealing of memories. Athena's knights had their minds completely wiped, forgetting who they are, their cosmo, the holy wars, and their loyalty to one another. Currently, Hyoga could very well be living peacefully on the frozen plains of Siberia, or spending his days without remembering anything about his glorious past of battles. But looking at the events of the manga, like the 4 characters who have already appeared in the Heaven Saga, Seiya, Saori, Ikki, and Shun, they are located in Greece. It is extremely likely, then, that Shiryu and Hyoga are also there. The most accepted and likely theory is that they are living ordinary lives among the villagers of Rodorio. The village of Rodorio is that small, peaceful village at the foot of Athena's sanctuary. That's where characters like Saga took shelter when the girl had amnesia. Hyoga, the once legendary Ice Knight who fought against gods and judges of the underworld, would now be living as a simple local resident, chopping wood or helping the villagers, with no idea whatsoever that he possesses the power to freeze the stars. However, Seiya so far is the only one who has awakened his cosmo again, gradually breaking the barrier imposed by the god Apollo. Besides him, our goddess Athena is also step-by-step awakening her original memories. And Saori already has huge problems ahead, because right now she is facing none other than the goddess Kur, who represents cruel fate, and is the sister of the gods Hypnos and Thanatos, and one of the most ruthless deities in the service of Hades. Kur is manipulative and was introduced in the guidance stories of the classic series, like Saint Seiya, Origin, and Destiny, truly being behind the evil spirit Lemur, who possessed the Gemini saga in the past. Now Kur is back to try to eliminate the vulnerable Athena. Meanwhile, Phoenix Ikki also seems to have awakened some latent memories, acting on the instinct that has always defined him, like the lone wolf who always appears when things get tough. Meanwhile, the pacifist Shun of Andromeda is still desperately trying to awaken his memories and his cosmo, being in a state of vulnerability in the earthly Elysian fields. But it's only a matter of time before the right emotional trigger happens for all of them. As we well know, both Hyoga and his bronze friends were widely recognized by the gold saints of the 18th century Holy War. Each of them received the blessing and approval, where the ancient warriors revealed that, unquestionably, the young bronze saints would be the future legitimate gold saints of the sanctuary. This is something that fans have been waiting for decades, and the new Heaven Saga is the perfect stage for this to happen. With the awakening of memories and the imminent threat of the gods of Olympus, after Athena managed to defeat Care, Athena's army will need its maximum strength. With that, Cygnus Hyoga will definitely take on the new and sacred Aquarius cloth, which may appear in this saga in surprising ways. The sanctuary now has its future in the hands of Kiki, the young apprentice of Mu of Ares. Kiki is the last descendant of the Muvians, a people born on the lost continent of Mu, and is currently the last living cloth restorer in the sanctuary. Kiki inherited the sacred armor tools from his master and craftsman, and has the ability to revive dead cloths. That's why in this saga a fully restored Aquarius cloth may appear, thanks to Kiki's talented hands. Another possibility would be a gold cloth that was resurrected and evolved into an even more divine form, having been bathed in the sacred blood of Athena herself. After all, in battles against the Olympian gods, ordinary gold cloths have already proven ineffective in the past. Only cloths bathed in the blood of the gods have a chance of becoming divine gold cloths, able to withstand the attacks of greater deities. When Hyoga's memories return, we will no longer have that young knight full of doubt. We will have a warrior who has mastered the seventh and eighth sense, who was shaped by the sacrifice of Camus and the trust of Mystoria. With that, Hyoga will finally become, in body, soul, and constellation, the gold saint of Aquarius. He will not only wear the armor in a true way, but he will be its rightful owner, carrying on his shoulders the legacy of the Ice Knights and his master Camus, along with the strength of his own determination. The battle against Olympus promises to be the most brutal in the entire history of Knights of the Zodiac. The gods do not forgive humans who try to make themselves their equals, but if there's someone who has learned that the human limit can be broken, that someone is Hyoga. With the power of absolute zero and the Aquarius armor protecting him, the icy air around Hyoga will freeze even the arrogance of the gods. And what do you think will happen to Hyoga in this new Heaven saga? Will he finally wear the Aquarius armor for good? Share your thoughts in the comments, and thanks for watching until the end. See you next time. Who said, burn your Cosmo to infinity?